We're here overlooking the beautiful city of Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and looking right at Mount LeConte. I'm here with Scott Reeser, who is the new TWRA officer. Scott, thanks for being with us.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Good to have you here in this area. I know people that come to this area, they love to see bears. That's the number one thing they want to see, but they've got some responsibilities too, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. Visitors and tourists and even locals that live here also all have responsibilities to our park and to our wildlife, especially bears in the area.
You know, they come here and they see a bear, they've got a great experience, but what impact have they had on that bear when they're back at Cincinnati or back in Atlanta?
Right, exactly. So when you come here and you're a tourist and you like to see bears and you want to get them in close, and a lot of people, they'll throw food to them or feed them, try to get the closest camera shot they can. And what they don't realize is when they go back home after that bear's been fed and they've got their memories back at home, what they don't realize is what's going on back here with that bear. That impacts that bear for life, and it turns that bear into really a nuisance bear because it's coming back and it's expecting food from everybody that they see. Really, they come up and they want to get fed.
Sure.
And so that's something we have to deal with here. And it affects that bear negatively. It affects everybody around here negatively, and especially the bears.
What constitutes a nuisance bear? Like, what point does somebody have to call you guys and say, I've got this bear and it's affecting our life or whatever?
When you got a bear that's not displaying natural behavior, not coming too close, using bold and assertive behavior, getting to dumpsters, getting to trash cans, coming too close to people, like I say, expecting that food from that person that bear's been fed. Of course, any aggressive bears entering cabins, entering vehicles, damaging property, things like this are what we consider nuisance bears that we have to either remove from the population or remove and take to another area.
Like, how far do you have to take them away so they don't come back?
Generally, you want to take them 40 air miles away at a minimum. Just so they won't walk back. Bears are notorious for having an internal GPS, and they will come back to the same area they're from every time.
So it's best to be able to see the bears, enjoy the bears, but don't feed them or don't let them get too comfortable around humans.
Exactly. That's what we want to see. We want you to be able to get those photos. We want you to be able to get those memories, but you have to realize that, like when you leave, those bears still need to be natural bears, and that's what you came to see, is a natural bear in its natural habitat, and not a bear in a dumpster, and not a bear getting fed.
You mentioned dumpsters. What responsibilities do the locals, the citizens that live here in Gatlinburg, and the tourists and businesses, what are their responsibilities with dumpsters and keeping food confined?
They all have a great responsibility in keeping nuisance bears wild. Dumpsters are the number one cause of bears coming into area and holding an area. If we keep these dumpsters to where bears aren't able to get in them, in other words, wildlife-proof containers, where if the dumpster's tipped over or if it has a leader on it where the bear can't get in it, that bear's going to get discouraged and go on to the next place. And if everybody cumulatively has bear-proof containers, that bear is going to say, well, we're not getting anything here. We might as well go back and try to forage naturally.
And that, I think I heard that before, and it's sort of it's something that's stayed with me. Remove the food source, and the bears will leave.
Exactly.
But around houses too, there's bird feeders, dog food, some stuff like that. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, definitely. Bird feeders are the number one thing here in Gatlinburg. Especially
why did they
for
like
the
that
residents.
so much?
It just adds that extra source of nutrition, extra source of protein. You think about a bear from the time it gets up to the time it goes to sleep. That bear's sole source of thought process is, I need to find nutrition, I need to find energy, I need to find protein to get through the day, to make fat on my body. So if we're giving the bear that, the proteins, and bird feeders hold a lot of protein, the sunflower seeds, the mixed seeds, so they know that's there. And it's an easy thing for them to target, an easy thing for them to get. A lot of people in Gatlinburg, they love to look at songbirds. They love to have bird feeders out to look at birds.
Yeah.
And I do too. But you're going to have bears and birds. But if you want, if you don't want the bears, you can't have the bird feeders.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll tell you what, we had a bird feeder and that bear destroyed it.
Exactly.
And we just couldn't have it anymore.
Every time. It's amazing how one bird feeder will hold a bear in an area just on that one particular object. And also the dog food. If you've got pets that are outside,
Yeah.
you can feed them outside, but make sure all that food is taken in. You can't leave food overnight on the porch or on the deck or anything like that, because dog food is also a great protein source for the bears, and they'll come in just for that.
Sometimes you'll even see people actually trying to feed a bear. Isn't that the most dangerous thing in the world that
Definitely,
you do?
definitely. It's dangerous for the person. It's dangerous for the bear. People don't realize the sheer magnitude of these bears and the power they have. They can swat, and their claws are razor sharp.
Yeah.
They can do some really serious damage, and they're very quick. Even though they're very large animals, they're extremely quick.
Oh, they're fast like a dog. I've seen one
Exactly.
run like a dog before. I had no idea they could run that fast.
Definitely. So you have to be very careful. We recommend, of course, not feeding the bears. The old adage is a fed bear is a dead bear.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
We have to euthanize bears every year for this reason. So that's another thing people don't realize is, they feed these bears and they think they're helping the bear out. They're not. It's a death sentence for the bear.
It's something that they just have to realize they can't do. Tell us about a new program you guys are talking about, BearWise.
Yep.
That sounds interesting. Is this just more education or what?
It definitely is. Along with our enforcement, we like to educate. We feel that education is our biggest tool in this fight to kind of keep bears wild. And what it is BearWise, and it's a education incentive that our agency has come up with, and we're springing it on Tennessee, hopefully going nationwide with it. And it's basically education incentive for not only school-age kids, K through 12th grade, but also civic groups, law enforcement groups, just general public groups will be able to, utilize this program and learn from it. Okay, we're here at one of the local businesses that has bear-proof containers, and they've done a good job of enclosing their container. Also, they've got signage up, watch for the bears. That's good. Thing, and one thing they've done here especially is put a latch here on the outside. It's going to take a bear quite a while to figure out how to do that motion right there. The biggest challenge is keeping people to do that. Guests in the facility and everything, keeping them being able to do that. Maybe some signage to latch back the latch after you close the door would be a good idea here. If we look in here at some of these dumpsters, a popular design in Gatlinburg is to have these steel leaders. These are cheap. You can pick these up at just about any hardware store. A lot of people call them dog leaders. And what the mission is here is to attach the dumpster to the lid so the lid doesn't fly up freely, because this is very lightweight and can be very easily manipulated by a bear. The challenging part is getting the guests and business owners and maintenance crew to latch this back. And it's as simple as that on each side to latch them back. One thing I've found in Gatlinburg especially, a lot of these systems are 3-door systems, and we'll be missing the middle one. So we have these latched, but right in the middle we can lift it up. So you want to make sure on your compactors and your trash systems that you have each door that flies open latched, or weld this middle one. Another thing that is troubling, is hard to keep up with, is maintenance issues. These latches about once a year need to be replaced, because these will rust, the spring action on them will break, and there will be no good, especially down here in this area. When they rust, a bear can just with his paw catch this and rip the whole thing out, and then you have an open dumpster. Okay, here's a common issue we see in the city. Generally, as you can see, the lid's wide open, and this happens when people are quick to action throwing trash away, forget to close the lid, or thinking they're going to come right back out and throw another bag of trash away, and they'll close it later and never gets closed. And you can just kind of drive down the street sometimes and see this, and this is a huge attraction to bears, obviously, because it's just wide open for them. We got to remember to make sure and have the lids closed. And with this trash system especially, all you have to do is close that lid, because then this locking system uses gravity and it automatically locks that lid for you. And that's the biggest thing on trash systems, is having something where you don't have to go back and latch, or it's automatic. Once they open it up, close it, and they're done, and they don't have to worry about it. The biggest issue with these we see is maintenance, yearly maintenance again with these. You have to make sure your clasps are well oiled and in good shape, not bent. I believe this one here, when you lift it up, it's bent and it doesn't provide a good latch. You just have to make sure these are well maintained every year. Okay, this is something that shows you just how powerful these bears are and how strong they are. It's obvious that this was attached here at one point and locked, but bear was able to just kind of bend this whole piece of angle up. And as you can see, we have broken cable here where the bear has more than likely broken it, and it looks like this was they've tried to repair this with different types of things. But again, this is a metal container, that we recommend to have. But with when you get a situation like this where the bear damages that angle, and this angle may not have been strong enough to start with, you want to make sure you have a heavy gauge angle, a heavy gauge metal, so they can't do this type of thing. And then when this happens, make sure to get this to a machine shop or a welding shop to get it completely fixed. Usually things like this that are unstrengthened metal don't really do much good. Here we have a container that is obviously a wooden container. They've done a good job at keeping locks and latches on this container so the lids can't be opened like this. However, as you can tell, the strength of this is not something that a bear couldn't tear into very easily if it wanted to. You can see where bears have already been clawing at this, and this is something that however, it's legal to have this type of container and legal to use this trash system in Gatlinburg. We urge people to get away from the wood containers and go back to metal containers, something stronger, angle iron, galvanized metal, something that this wood and screw, this is nothing for a bear to tear into and get through if it really so desired to. Okay, this is an example of a trash system that's been well maintained. It's got the suggested galvanized metal on there, and the grating, the thick angle, and a good thick heavy-duty latch that is easy to operate for a guest. And it's obvious that it just goes back in there. You don't even really need any signs on here to tell you that this is where that belongs. And one latch for both sides. Lift it right up, and you can hear how heavy-duty metal that is, and just a heavy-duty leader back into it. And you can tell there's been no really bear activity around here on this container because it's so well done. A bear looks at this and tries to lift this and not able to, and they're going to forget that and go on to the next place that might have a lesser system. Here's an example of a trash container, especially for business owners, can utilize this in their business on the sidewalks and things. It's obviously heavy duty, made of iron, and it's got a very, very good locking system that you can actually lock with a key. Sometimes bears will actually figure out how to open these, so you have to make sure you do lock them. But your trash can goes right in there. As you can tell, it's really heavy duty, and also it's got the pull-down door, convenient for guests and public to use. Trash slides right in and opens up, and and there's no way for a bear to get in here because it's attached here, and it's so heavy that you know it's not going to be easily turned over. And even if it is, the trash system can come out because of the flat bore system, and those work really well for business owners. Okay, these trash systems here, this can in particular is called the Toter. It's available online, different manufacturers or different outlets, and basically it is a proven, tested bear-proof container. It's been proven by not only the park, but the online YouTube videos show how well made this thing is. Basically, the light system is all internal. You have to stick your finger in here and pull up, and that way, and then when it shuts back down, it's locked. And it has a metal, heavy-duty metal rim around it, so the bears can't get into the lid. Even though this is a composite material, it is a very sturdy, heavy-duty material. Online, you can see where a very heavy-duty bear was pushing down on it and could not get the lid to pop off. You can also put these on poles in the back and then secure them to a pole or a building so the bear can't carry the entire thing off. These are cost effective. These are around $200 versus your metal containers that are anywhere from $600 to $1,000. So if you're looking for a good alternative to the metal containers, these are it. These are one of the best we've found in the area and local to be able to get.
Well, as much as people love bears, I think they just need the education to realize that they're hurting them by feeding them.
Exactly.
And just because if people see them, their whole vacation, their trip to Gatlinburg has been made.
Sure.
But they're a wild animal.
Yeah, definitely. That's what people have to keep in mind. That they are a wild animal. We don't have domestic bears, and some of the bears around here kind of act like domestic bears because their whole life have been treated like that. But we want to keep the bears wild, and so their population will be healthy and keep people safe.
Sounds good. Scott, good luck to you.
Thank you.
You very much.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for sharing with us.
Mm-hmm.